we live in a world where no one knows the truth anymore, right?
Fact.
Our world is manipulated by algorithms. It's manipulated by artificial intelligence. My world on social media, really not social media anymore. My world is this phone.
Yeah.
Everyone listening to this podcast right now can pick up their phone and think about everything that you think about, everything that you're concerned about, everything that you're worried about. All of your news, all of your information, all of your friendships, all of it is dictated by what?
That's right. That's
this
screen.
phone, right? Mm-hmm. So the way you see the world, the way you perceive an event or a decision or something political or what's happening in Ukraine or China or anywhere else, this phone dictates that perception that you have of the world.
Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. And folks, check it out. My dude is back, my special guest on the Hitstreak from episode 92. He's back in the guest chair over there, and I'm excited to kick it with him today because my man makes moves, and we're here to talk about some of those moves, right? So check it out, folks. Let me give him a proper Hitstreak introduction, all right? You know him as a military veteran, a combat instructor. All right, he's the co-founder of a new intelligence and security solutions company called TrueNorth. He's the director of U.S. operations of the Sentinel Foundations, folks. Welcome back, my dude, Matt Murphy. Matt, how we doing, baby?
Man, doing so good, brother. Thank you for having me back. I'm excited to chat today. Whole different conversation, of course. Man, I've just been traveling all over the place, all over the world, all over Africa, the Middle East, back to the States, doing fundraisers for the Sentinel Foundation. And now I'm in a Series A to take my company domestic as well, because we're all over the world internationally. But so we want to come into the States. So, man, just been just a little bit busy.
Well, I got it, dude. I seriously mean this when I tell you. I think I go pretty hard, but you push me because I'm like, man, like Matt's running a pretty tough schedule over there. Like, you know what I mean? When you know what you know, it's like, bro, it's just really, it's incredibly impressive.
I appreciate that, brother.
And inspiring at the same time, if I might add that in, you know what I mean? So, I'm so excited to talk about your new operation, and because it's something you guys have been working on for a minute.
Yeah, we've been about 3 years to get it off the ground.
Wow, dude. And honestly, man, like that journey is something that is to be a fly on the wall for something like that. And we get to kind of talk about what 3 years looks like when you're building something like a company like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not easy.
No, absolutely not. So, but I want to open because, one of the greatest honors my wife and I have is being a part of a great organization and to support the Sentinel Foundation, dude, and what you guys are doing. And after the first golf tournament fundraiser you guys had, I didn't think it could get any better. And then we had the second one this year. You know what I mean? So it was absolutely incredible. What was it? It was almost $1 million from that one event.
Yeah, I think 858,000 just at the event, and we've had a lot more come in since. So yeah, it's just been a blessing, man.
Unbelievable. So there was so much to talk about when it comes about that event. Like it was a little different this year.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Jason and Brittany, Aldine have just been, absolutely amazing, man, since they've come into my life. And, going back to, I started Operation Lightshine, and that was, partnered up with Tim Tebow and doing a whole lot of different things there. And, I get a call one day that Brittany wanted to do a fundraiser for Lightshine. And so I was like, yeah, that's great. Sure. Appreciate it. And she didn't really tell me much more than it was going to be a "Don't Tread on Our Kids" kind of thing. Like a t-shirt run that hurt, like the Brittany and Cassie thing they had going. So, man, they launched the t-shirts, raising money. And then I get an email from the Rolling Stone. And, I was like, why is the Rolling Stone emailing me? And it said, hey, does Operation Lightshine rescue transgender children?
Okay.
And I was like, where's this going? And I was like, Operation Lightshine does not send sexual preference questionnaires to children who are being trafficked before we attempt to rescue them, right? Kind of a, very edgy, smart response to that. I wasn't allowed to reply to emails from my lawyer again after that one, but, it's just the truth, right? We don't care. We're just here to save kids. And I found out that was when, Brittany and Maren Morris had that whole argument online, that something Brittany said that was misinterpreted, and, the media just runs with things kind of stuff. So that started our journey together. And that's really when I, really just got to respect Jason and Brittany and just see how solid of people they are, how patriotic, love this country, how much they put themselves out there to stand up for others.
Yeah.
It's just been an awesome journey. So we decided to do a golf tournament when I moved over to Sentinel, and that was huge. You were a big part of that the first year. And then this past year, Jason's like, hey, I want to do a concert too. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. And so, you got freaking legend, Jason Aldean doing a concert and then putting his name on the golf tournament. And man, it's just been a blessing. I can't wait for next year, to be honest. It's going to be great. But it's just so cool to see not just the Aldeans, but so many amazing people that love this country, love to do what they can to protect children and support veterans and people who are doing good things, all come together. It was just a magical couple days. It's
one of the most like when you just think of the word connection. Like that event is like, it feels just, I'm a part of a lot of, I participate in a lot of those throughout the year. And that one is definitely one-on-one. It's so unique, man. It's a great thing. And yeah, the concert was really cool.
Yeah, it was, man. And then we had Dallas Alexander open up for Jason, who, has the longest sniper kill shot in history. It was just a really kind of cool dynamic, just all the personalities and people involved.
Absolutely, man. So, all right. So the your project TrueNorth. So there's so many things I want to talk about here, and obviously, I'll let you describe exactly the type of company it is, and if anybody had any questions or whatever, because it's the clientele is not your typical clientele of a business, right? So, but more importantly, like the journey to get there, because like that's what impresses me the most about you is one, like your ability to like you can scale and launch things and just do so many things at the same time, but without lacking quality. But like that 3-year journey to launch something like this, like I mean, you're the only person I know who could do that.
Well, brother, I appreciate that, man. It has not been easy. Let me start there. It has not been easy. It's I spent a career, as a Green Beret, CIA guy, just doing all the different things that I did. And I started Operation Lightshine before I was even retired. I just Googled how to start a charity, and then the next thing you know, it becomes one of, the bigger charities in, the counter human trafficking space. And it's a blessing. But what I've learned is that your success is going to depend on the quality of people you surround yourself with, right? It's, I have been very blessed with the ability to lead and manage and pick good people, and I picked a lot of bad people too. Unfortunately, you're not always going to be right, and I've had a lot of bad people try to destroy me, try to destroy things that I built. You're never going to get away from that. But what keeps me going is all the good people that have stuck by my side, who have been through the battles, the trials, and the tribulations with me. And I really think that is what has allowed me more than anything to be successful as I am in counter human trafficking and helping children, making a difference there. Even just speaking out now and having kind of a mini platform on just really what's happening in the world. And then to TrueNorth, man. That's been a journey in and of itself. And that started with a woman named Philippa Greenberg.
Okay.
She is just a rock star in the defense space, especially with technology. Very well connected, has done a lot of amazing things. And her and I got introduced by the founder of Credit Suite, the founder and CEO of Credit Suite in Tampa about 3-4 years ago. And he's like, hey, you guys need to meet, because it's a human trafficking thing. She was doing stuff to fight human trafficking, leveraging certain technologies to do that. And at first we were going to try to build an intelligence model to put behind Operation Lightshine, but we could never get it there because of just funding and all kinds of other intricacies in the way the law works, really.
Right.
So Lightshine just really started giving things more to cops than helping cops with the investigation, which is not really what I wanted and created Lightshine to do. I wanted to put the weapons behind the police, the intel analysts, the hackers. I mean, anything legal, quote unquote, hacking, like put that behind the police. Well, given the dynamic and the time, and I would say the administration, There were a lot of issues, especially with the feds on that. So I came over to Sentinel Foundation and we started to do the same thing, right? Ryan Montgomery, one of the best hackers in the world, came onto the team shortly after he recorded with Sean Ryan. Sean introduced us, and we've just built up a lot of things since then. But again, there's peaks and valleys when you're fighting things on the nonprofit side because you're constantly having to ask people for money. Right? Always ask people for money because you can't do stuff without money.
That's right.
Right? So when you're someone like me, you're one of the founders, one of the executives, you literally spend all your time going on podcasts, talking to people of net worth, networking, dinners, events, cigars, bourbons. I mean, that is your life trying to pay for the mission. Right? And while I get it, that's just part of the game. That's not why I, started these things and I'm part of Sentinel and it's not what I do. So Pip and I figured out really quick through all that in order for us to be successful in the fight against human trafficking, we have to be successful in the business world. And a mentor of mine, a good buddy of mine, T.W. Mock, he is a gangster, for lack of a better word, in the business space.
Yeah, baby.
He's the kind of guy that bought a battleship and turned it into a yacht, like that kind of guy. Good friend. He looked at me and he's like, "Man, I'm sick and tired of watching you run around the world raising money." He's like, "You need to go build something, make your own money, and then fund your own fight in this." And it's like, man, and that resonated with me, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting here talking to a billionaire that owns oil fields, and he's like, "It's time for you to make your own money, son." And that was really what put some fire under Pip and I in our journey to get to TrueNorth. Is we're sitting here, we have some of the most talented special operators in the world, some of the most talented intel agents and officers, some of the most talented intel analysts, some of the best hackers in the world. We've got all the tools right here around us in this counter-human trafficking environment to build something insane on the for-profit side. So there's some other software involved in this that we don't talk about publicly that was built for JSOC and CIA contracts that we own and we have. So we're sophisticating that right now too. So we have the whole package. But figuring out how to put that package together, how to launch it properly, which verticals to get it into, it's like anything else. Like you try and you try and you try and you fell and you fell and you fell. And it's the not quitting part. I really thought this past June, I honestly thought I was about to have to go file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I really did, because I just spent every dollar I had on lawyers, on all these things just to get the company, finally on a vertical. And 2 days later, I get a call that we won the contract for the entire country of an African nation.
Unbelievable.
And now we've got a whole team over there. I can't say the country because of, certain things, but we're doing manhunting and strategic intelligence at the prime minister and MOD level over there now, and it was just like a windfall of contracts after that.
Let's go.
All over the Middle East, all over Africa, now all over South America. And it's just like, wow, it's that 3-year journey, to get there.
So, one of the things that really sticks out to me about this, first of all, I heard from the pulpit not long ago that God doesn't steer a parked car. You know what I'm saying? So like you got to get in and drive and then he's going to tell you where to go type thing.
100%.
So that was, obviously faith in yourself, faith in what you're called to do, to push through those things and knowing that, when you're looking at filing Chapter 7 and your partner's a billionaire, you know what I mean? That just goes to show you the responsibility.
Wow.
It's freaking awesome. But the other thing is a company like this, you can't just do like me and all my friends do and just do our marketing campaigns and market to our data and find our customers that way. Yours is all relationships and networking and like, you know what I mean? You have to do it, build it a totally different way.
100%. We don't have an Instagram for the company. We're not marketing anything.
Yeah.
Maybe one day if we build up a commercialized system, we will. But right now, it's strategic efforts. It's specialized, targets. Like we've gotten calls from every 3-letter agency to do manhunting for them. We've gotten calls from private equity firms and big banks to find people who have committed, extremely high levels of fraud. Even businessmen who have been, screwed over in business deals. Currently we're working a guy who got close to 500 million stolen from him. There's not little
That's
stuff.
a bad day.
That's a very bad day. There's a lot of crime that goes on in the world and it's, as your network rises of people of the high net worth, high morals, higher values, just good people that are running the world, starting the businesses, being the pioneers of industry and all these kind of things, you get in the right rooms, right? And I've had a lot of people over the past few years try to, fund this or fund that or give us money. And then we wouldn't take money from anyone until we built something that worked, right? And, I don't want to take money from somebody and say, I think I can do it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I think I'm going to make this work. So now we've got a fully functioning, Intel company and software ready to be sophisticated. And now we're in a Series A race, to launch the product domestically and, bring our solutions here to the States, because we can already do whatever we do all over the world with all the tools and resources we have. I literally think the best way to describe us is we're like the A-team that has a lot of hackers.
It's freaking awesome. How cool is that?
Yeah, man. So when people have problems through the networks and everything else, they call us and we do our best to solve them.
Man, it's, again, so like all companies are built by people for people. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, and with the technology that's available, a lot of times that gets kind of maybe left out. You forget that gets forgotten about. And with you guys to get, I get your clients, for lack of better words. I mean, it's all about people. It's all about people. And like, man, there's got to be crazy trust when you're dealing. Like one of the things we've been talking about a lot with the marketing team for things that I want to talk about a lot in 2025 is, I tell them all the time that as an athlete, what I've learned to do I'm always creating pressure for myself, because pressure actually doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It's created by the individual. And some people thrive under that pressure and some people get crushed under the pressure that they create themselves. So I've learned is what we're talking about is, instead of creating pressure, like now, how do you package that pressure and use it to move things forward, right? So the business that you're in, the people that you're dealing with, that pressure there's very few people that I think could withstand that type of pressure.
Oh, man, it's been tough. But again, like I lived my life at war. I lived my life in multiple different conflicts, from, Iraq to Afghanistan to Syria to, the pressure of doing the things we did at the agency. And pressure just doesn't affect me, I think, like it affects other people, because there's just a whole nother level that I've been exposed to. And I don't think that makes me better than anyone else. But, a long time ago, younger me said, I'm joining the military, and I have just been blessed for every opportunity that's presented itself. But I had to step up, rise to the occasion, and be who I needed to be to become a Green Beret, to become all the things that I've become after that. And it's like that trial by fire that kind of molds you into that, right? And it's very similar with sports, the pressure that you feel, like playing on a professional baseball team and just being on the field, and you gotta make that hit. You gotta make that catch,
That's right.
And, that pressure, I think, prepares you for the business world, because I see all my friends that are out there running around with, all kinds of different degrees and all kinds of different things, working for the man, working for somebody else. And it's like, man, I just Googled how to do stuff. And,
that's right.
And you just do it, right?
That's right.
It's just, if you want something bad enough, you're going to do it. You're going to be successful, and you're going to be able to self-educate yourself or surround you with people. And that, again, back to people. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who make you better, and who can help you, right? But you've also got to be able to give to them. You can't just be a leech.
Let's go.
It has to be reciprocal. And I think that's been the beautiful thing in my life. Again, it all comes back to people. Just I've had some amazing people in my life, and it far outweighs, like, I've had so many crappy people try to destroy me, try to cut me down, try to take me out at the knees, destroy my reputation, destroy everything. People get jealous. People get, they want the donations, they want the money, they want the recognition, they want the fame, or whatever it is they think they're going to get from it.
Yeah.
And if you just keep being you stay focused, you don't attack people, you don't try to play their game, you just keep focused. And that's why we call the company TrueNorth, right?
I was going to ask that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so let me tell a little tangent for that, right? We live in a world where no one knows the truth anymore. Right.
Fact.
Our world is manipulated by algorithms. It's manipulated by artificial intelligence. My world on social media, really not social media anymore. My world is this phone.
Yeah.
everyone listening to this podcast right now can pick up their phone and think about everything that you think about, everything that you're concerned about, everything that you're worried about. All of your news, all of your information, all of your friendships, all of it is dictated by what?
That's right. That
This
screen.
phone, right? So the way you see the world, the way you perceive an event or a decision or something political or what's happening in Ukraine or China or anywhere else, this phone dictates that perception that you have of the world. So most of it, sadly, as we're all finding out now, is not true. It's manipulated, it's steered, it's controlled so that you think a certain way, you vote a certain way, you behave a certain way, you believe in a certain thing.
Yeah.
So TrueNorth, the company name, has that because it's our North Star, right?
Let's go.
As long as everything that we do in the intelligence world is focused on that North Star, what we know to be moral, what we know to our values to be, what we know to be true, right? And then as long as we stay focused on that North Star and we only do things that get us pointed in that direction, then we're going to do the right thing. We're going to make mistakes, but we're never going to make failures. We're not going to catastrophically fail. We're not going to compromise our morals. We're not going to compromise our values, and we're not going to compromise the people we love. So
only God and Mother Nature are undefeated.
There you go, man.
That's right.
We will fail, but we will not make catastrophic mistakes or compromise ourselves, And again, we want to be the arbiter of that truth because we can.
I want to come back in just a moment to truth. I think you're a wonderful person to give advice on, how to navigate through, the BS that's out there. How to really, figure out what's trustworthy and what's not type thing. I want to come back to that, but before I want to stay here for a second because one of the things I've been most impressed with about you, and I'm speaking from experience. So again, I can't speak for anybody else but me, but from experience, you have an incredible sense of responsibility with your relationships. Dude, I've never gone more than 30 days and not heard from you. Not where I reached out to you, you reached out to me. If anything, just to say, what's up? How you doing? What's good in your life? And can I add any value type thing? You know what I mean?
What are we going to do for you? Well, man, I try my best at it because you know this, man. The more successful you become, the bigger anything that you're a part of gets, the more people come into your life, right? And there's so many great people out there, brother. There's so many great acquaintances and people I know, whether they're famous or they're cool or I look up to them or respect them or something in some kind of way. I really don't care about fame.
Yeah.
You got to be a good person too, right? But there's a lot of people that deserve that fame and that recognition because of who they are. And you get to meet a lot of them, right? And it becomes very difficult in time when you have to network for a charity. You have to raise money. You have to give people time, all right? If they're going to donate money to the charity, they support the mission, but they're really donating to you, right? And who you are and your character and saying, hey, I can get behind you in this fight. There's a lot of people fighting human trafficking, but I believe in you, So it does require a lot of attention. It does require a ton of time, and it's destroyed personal relationships I have, especially on the woman side, because of how much time things take,
sacrifice
and the sacrifice and trying to find that balance, between that. I haven't always been perfect. None of us are, man. And you can get real wrapped up in that, but I make it a very intentional effort to contact to go to breakfast or lunch or dinner or, go have a drink somewhere with the people I love and care about who I really want close to my life and I respect, because the relationships, you take time and they take intention, so you have to manage those relationships. And I'm saying manage is probably not the word. You have to show those relationships the nurture it needs to maintain it. You can't call someone a friend if you're not a friend to them.
That's right.
That's
right. And the phone, and all that goes two different ways. Derek Jeter said trust and loyalty one direction is just stupid.
Yeah, no, literally. Literally, man. So I try my best at that. I know I could be better in a lot of fronts, but I just know the other thing too, that people that I need in my life, because there's friends and there's business, and you can mix the two, but I try to keep a lot of it separate. The people I need in my life are going to constantly be there and show up and, I'm going to do that same thing for them so I can call them a friend.
Yeah. I want to thank all of our loyal fans that spread across all 50 states and 14 different countries. It's absolutely amazing. Folks, help us keep spreading the word, right? Share your favorite episodes with friends and make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the Hitstreak on all digital platforms. Thanks again, and we look forward to more. Every time that happens, like I learn something because I'm like, I like, when I know what you're doing, when I know I know the travel schedule that you've had, I know that, I mean, literally sometimes when I've talked to you, you're in a place where it's a totally different day than it is where I'm at. You know what I mean? You're in the future.
Yeah, that's the truth, man.
But it's just, it's incredibly inspiring. I know that it comes with a great responsibility. And just from my perspective, I think you handle it incredibly well, dude. And it's impressive as hell, man.
I appreciate that, brother. I had to do it my whole life, though.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm trying to get better at, and this is something that we're all not perfect. We all have things we struggle with and we work on. Is my personal relationships, especially like in the dating and stuff like that. Because when you're property of the military for 18 and a half years. Your job is to do all that stuff and they send you everywhere, and your relationship is literally like it falls way down on that priority list.
Yeah.
Even if you even have one at that time, because everything the government wants comes first, and you're gone.
And it kind of has to for everybody's protection too, once you get involved, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So, taking some of that to the civilian world, if you will, and then trying to figure out how to balance the relationship, how to, be a better dad, how to be, a better partner or husband or boyfriend or all these things, so it's just a constant juggle with all of that and just time, because everybody has a different purpose, unfortunately, and this is something I'd learned the hard way. My calling, my purpose is to be the guy that goes all over the world, that travels, that does this stuff, because God's got me on this path.
Yeah.
This is the training. This is who I am. This is what I know. And I'm never going to not be this guy, right? And I have to accept that, embrace that. And then I have to make sure that in my personal life that I'm very honest with myself and them about what that life looks like,
Man. Well, I want to stay there for a minute because that's something that all extremely driven people that are, that are called by a higher power to do things. The most important part is once you get into that is that you finish it. Because that is the legacy. That way that when it's done, the people that were on the other end of that sacrifice, they can see the finished product, and they see all the good that it did. They see all the people that it helped, and it's something they can be proud of because they sacrificed just like you did.
Yes, yeah.
So you have to finish it.
You do, but you have to find the right person for that too, man. Because everybody needs something different, and something that could be great. People like us could make really toxic, if they're not the right person. If they are, then it's never really an issue. There's always going to be problems. That's life. But it's having that right person that understands who you are, what your passions are, what your dreams are, and really what your calling is, right?
Yeah.
I never really asked to go fight human trafficking. I never really wanted to, or even thought about it, to be honest. And then I lost my sister and things changed. And then, a huge organization that's done so much gets built, and then Sentinel keeps growing and doing great things. And it's like, well, all right, God, I get it. This is where you want me. And there's some days, man, where it just gets very dark. It gets very heavy. It gets, it's not it's the darkest topic, in my opinion, to hear what happens to these children and see what happens to these children.
Absolutely.
And then have to go out there and do something about it. So that can weigh on you. It can mess with your soul. It can mess with your heart. So there's so many things now that I'm having to learn and every day get better at juggling. Just even thinking about like what that does to your personality, right? When you're having to get that text or that call about what just happened to some little girl, and then, hey, can you help? Hey, what can Sentinel do? Or, the parents or the family members freaking out and losing their minds, rightfully so, because someone just went missing. I've been there.
Yeah.
But it's, to have that in your conscience every day, and to hear these stories every day and to have your inbox full all day long. Cause, because people know what I do, right? Anytime some kid goes missing or something horrible happens, my DMs are full of it by people who care.
Absolutely.
Right. And then you got to remember, but you think on my end, what does that do to my psyche when all day long, all I'm seeing is missing children, kidnapped girls, hurting, raping, molesting children, all this stuff that just, is sent to me all the time for me to do something about.
Yeah. It's, a buddy of mine's a former homicide detective, and he retired very young from that after over a decade doing it. And literally one day we were just hanging out, and I said, what made you want to retire and do what you're doing now? He said, Nick, I got tired of looking at dead people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He was like, it was really hard, like, to be at home and be the dad that I needed to be and be the husband I needed to be. It was really, really hard. And talking about, when your DMs are going full and you're having to run around and raise funds, it was to raise funds to go rescue those kids. And if you didn't, talk about pressure. Yeah. Money don't happen. That's just time. And the longer the time that goes from these things, the harder it is to find them.
100%, man. And that's why we've been so blessed, of course, for everyone that supports us, all deans have done so much. The Tebow Foundation still does a lot to support Sentinel. We've got a lot of big people that step up. I don't want to say the other people's names just because we never talked about it publicly, but there's a lot of people that do a whole lot to make sure that we stay funded and we stay in that fight, man. And again, it's just something that I think a lot of people don't understand about, that when they see you doing good things and they see great things being built, whether that's a business or whether that's philanthropy and, or both, right? That there is a ton of personal strife, right? And there's a lot of arrows, there's a lot of wounds, there's a lot of bad days, there's a lot of hopeless moments, there's a whole lot of anguish and destruction and despair and everything else on that journey. And what makes it worth it is the outcome, right? And the children that we save, the successes that we have, of course, now even in business, the money that you make, and it's not easy to get there. And I think that's why so many people give up, because they can't handle it. They don't want to handle it. And they want to just be on the sidelines, and that's fine.
Yeah.
The arena's not for everybody.
No, it's not. And, but again, that, I'm big on taking responsibility, taking ownership. You know what I mean? Like, I'm instead of pointing the finger out, I always turn it around and point it at myself, because like that's the only way I can have an effect or fix anything if it's on me, And that advice of your business partner is like, I would encourage that for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, instead of running around asking for everybody else to chip in, you guys just decided, you know what, we can do that too. We can do, you know what I mean? We can do that on our own. And as a matter of fact, then it'll be easier to get other people to chip in, because they're seeing me do it. You know what I mean? You're leading by example that way. Literally, like, so not only are you leading by example by getting the stuff done and putting it in front of people, but now you're leading the example by just saying, yeah, we can make money too. And that will go towards that stuff. So dude, it's incredible.
And it's been awesome. Well, just for instance, where I'm not going to say the country, but the country that we won our contract in to work for the Prime Minister MOD. I mean, this is really kind of a first of its kind model that we built, where we're doing managed intelligence at a nation level, status. It's crazy, man. Mm-hmm. And, the house I moved into when I went over there, man, it just shows you how close everything is always hitting to home. 2 nights before we moved into this home, 10 Bangladeshi men's bodies were dumped in a ditch 300 meters from the house.
Good grief.
They had been trafficked and then tortured and extorted, and their families didn't pay, so they just killed them and dumped them in a ditch, 300 meters from the house. And it's just like, well, they picked the wrong house to dump the bodies near. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
That's, so we won't talk anymore about that. But there's you just see, like, no matter how much success you have, no matter how, things point in some direction, there's always going to be that crap around you, and that you're going to have to fight, and you're going to have to do something about. And once you realize God's got you on a mission, God's got you on a calling, and you're not going to get away from it, this is where you are, and this is your journey. And
facts.
You have to embrace it, and you just have to love it, and you just got to smile and look the devil in the face and tell him to go,
That's right. Let's go, baby. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of the home over there that you had to do, one of my favorite stories that you told me one day was about. I'm just going to call it your roommate.
Okay. Oh, my lion.
You're lying.
Oh man. Okay. So one of the guys thought it was a good idea to buy a lion. Right.
It's always a good idea.
I think it was a great idea. He hasn't killed anybody yet. But we do have a lion over there in this country.
How big is it?
He's pretty dang big now. He's almost a year old. He's like a cub.
Yeah.
He's halfway. I don't know.
What's his name?
Doug.
Doug.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doug. Well, I ain't messing with Doug.
Well, so Doug, he was like a little tiny cub, and he's grown up with a puppy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's grown up with a puppy.
What's puppy's name?
I forget the puppy's name.
Carl?
I don't know if the puppy has a name. I don't think anyone likes a puppy. It's just one of I don't know if you've ever been to Africa or like the Middle East. They don't really have dogs as pets. They just kind of roam randomly. I'm pretty sure people eat them sometimes.
Got it.
And this puppy just came from like one of the, random wild dogs that live near the house. Right?
Yeah.
So this puppy's just grown up with him, and it's kind of helped him like act differently, I guess. Maybe we're just making that up, and he's going to kill us one day. I don't know. But he just lives in the home.
Okay.
And he walks around, does his own thing, hangs out outside. And it's weird when you go on jogs because this is a big, secured compound.
Yeah.
Someone else a couple houses down has a lion too that they just let roam around. And I think that lion's bigger and older. No one's gotten attacked or hunted down yet. Lions are actually pretty chill and lazy, I think.
Gotcha.
At least I'm going to keep telling myself that.
That's
right. But I've when I would go on runs, I would look for all the trees and all the things I could crawl up if I had to.
Head on a swivel.
They might be able to climb trees too. I don't know. I probably should have watched more Discovery Channel. But yeah, we have a lion. And
I can understand why the lion's the favorite over the dog. I mean, it's that the dog's never going to win that. Any dog is never going to win that over the lion's. Always going to be the favorite.
Yeah, well, they're chill. I mean, and it's a pretty funny lion. It just does all the stuff that you think dogs would do. Like a buddy that lives here in Nashville, he does like digital forensics and stuff. And I brought him over to Africa with me to do some of that there for some of the things we were doing. And the lion liked to go pee in his floor.
And what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, like what are you gonna do? Yeah, good luck disciplining a lion, buddy. Let me know how that goes. Because he knows he's a lion. He's chill. He just wants the house. Like you can pet his head and stuff, but he'll get mad if you do it for too long. If you rub his belly, he'll be there all day.
Got it.
He really doesn't like people touching his head. He hasn't really hurt anybody, so that's nice too.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, I just remember when you told me that I was literally in my Jeep, and you were telling me about that story, and I almost drove off the road because I was like, "What?" But dude, it's just those are those are the amazing conversations when you get to talk to Matt Murphy on the phone. Wait a minute, you're where? And wait, you got what?
Yeah, he's actually really cool, man. I miss him. I want to get back over there soon. It's a good line.
Well, it's I mean, again, there's some things that you just never you never think you're gonna hear, and then you hear it, and it's like, yeah, that was real. That was did I dream that? So Dale, if your question's not about the lion, if you got one later, we're gonna have to talk about this for a minute, okay? Dude, that's incredible, man. So as we sit here today, it's actually prior to Christmas as we sit here today, and when this episode comes out, it's currently scheduled for January 20th of 2025, right? It's a heck of a day, and honestly, we did that on purpose. We always try to be as relevant to help people as much as we can with what's going on in the world and timing and everything else. And so January 20th is a big day, and I want to kind of lead into this about perspective, right? It's all about perspective, because a lot of the folks, when where one of the places where I first met you at was the National Prayer Breakfast in DC, where we get unbelievable perspective from all over the world. At least I do. You get it all the time. I get it once a year. Okay. And for me, it was always a breath of fresh air, and it gave me hope to hear how the U.S., at least in years past, was so respected and loved by other people around the world. And it's actually the exact opposite of what we're fed here, which is kind of crazy. So that perspective is good. And then when you think about it, you think, and because they even referenced, we're talking to these folks from these other countries that love the United States so much. And they're like, yeah, it's really sad to see those people that don't their perspective is so wrong, because what they're griping over is like, what is it? There's a quote, I'll find it in a minute, but basically one man's, I'm gonna find it in a second, but the perspective is just off. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of change happening, I guess starting today if this is January 20th, right? So what would you like to say? I'm gonna look for this quote here in just a second, because it's important to me, but where would you like to start? Just kind of, it's hopeful, what's your take on it?
And I'm hopeful. I used to work for the government, so I know how dirty, terrible, and evil it is, and can be, but I do know there is good. Unfortunately, this isn't a new problem. This has been going on for a long time. I think you're going to start to see a lot of truth be given to the American public about people that aren't human. I think you're going to start to see a lot of truth come out soon about that. They've already acknowledged it in Congress in the past couple of weeks that we have technology and craft and bodies of people that aren't people, or things that aren't people, non-human origin. I think you're going to start to see the truth about that. That's all I'm going to say about that on this podcast. You're going to start to see the truth about who has been destroying the world, I hope. Because there's a reason Trump the first time did not release the JFK files, right? And who shot JFK. They've already said they're going to release a whole file. I think that could do some serious damage to, if they do release a whole file, to just the reality of what's wrong with the world right now and what's been happening. This didn't start with Biden. This didn't start with Obama. This didn't start with Bill. This has been going on for a very long time. And there's, what people don't really get is, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Come on.
Right? To me, that's one of the most powerful and telling verses in the Bible. And everybody's like, oh, this is conspiracy theory stuff. Remember like how everybody was a crazy conspiracy theorist during COVID?
Oh, yeah.
And all these things. Now everybody's like, conspiracy theorists are batting 1,000 at this point, right? Because it's not a conspiracy. What it is it's money. Anything that goes on in the world that's wrong, that's perverted, that's blackmail, that's manipulation, that's control, that's a lie, follow the money. Always follow the money. And if you follow the money, what you're going to see is that our world has already been monopolized. It has been completely monopolized. And all the money goes back to pretty much one or two countries. And name your private equity firm, name your big bank, name your corporation. They all incestuously own each other. One of the best accounts you can follow on social media is Cancel This Clothing Company.
Okay.
This guy breaks this down like none other. He has to change his name a couple times, but I'm sure if you just look up the video, Cancel This Clothing Company, based on old ones he's posted, you can find him. This guy breaks down the incestuous money markets, the ownership, and everything like no one else can. And what you'll see is with all of these issues, whether it's politics, whether it's corporations, whether it's social, religious, sexual preference, all this kind of stuff, follow the money. Follow the money. Who's paying the institution, the group, or the organization that's causing the issue or driving the point, right? All the way back to the JFK assassination, to the Ronald Reagan assassination, Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the truth of the matter is the Federal Reserve is owned by people who are not Americans, who have global interests, and we appoint a chairman that does not control anything. The Federal Reserve is not an American institution. It's a global bank, just like every central bank for every Western world or every Western country is. So there is a lot of corruption.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That people have just been, I'm not saying blind to, but they haven't wanted to pay attention about it. They've never really had to learn about it. They've never really understood. But I think technology is setting people free right now, just as much as it's putting people in chains. You're starting to see people waking up to the fact that the world is not what they think it is. Our government is not what they think it is.
Yeah.
And that the way that we've been lied to, we've been manipulated, we've been divided, we've been weaponized against each other by media and by social media and by our very own leadership.
Yeah.
Is really just to keep us trying to kill each other while they do whatever they want behind closed doors, right?
Yeah.
Because if we're looking at each other, we're not looking at them.
That's right.
So
it's like a magician. They're always just look over here, not over here type thing.
Yeah. So Donald Trump has released quite a few really interesting videos about how he's going to dismantle this so-called deep state, right? And one of the biggest issues I have with it is man, these people have been at this for over 100 years. Really since the inception of America.
They're smart.
Yeah.
They're powerful.
They are.
They're loaded.
They're loaded. And a lot of people that have done some of the most evil things are blackmailed, manipulated, and controlled. And do you think they're going to risk getting locked up, military tribunals, and potentially death penalty for the crimes that they've committed, and just let Donald Trump waltz into office and do it?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. So part of me thinks that this is so institutionalized globally.
Yeah.
Because it's not just America. Look at what's happening in Canada. Look at what's happening in London, all over Europe. Look at what's happening in Australia. I mean, London, Muhammad just became the most popular baby name. Right? And people in England are 10 to 15 years away from being the minority in their own country. They're true English people. So this mass immigration, this destruction of rights, people are getting locked up in England right now for talking bad about immigrants, literally locked up in prison on social media. You can't even talk about God.
It's crazy.
It's insane, right? Well, that's not far away from America if Trump hadn't won.
That's right.
And that's probably not far away from America even if Trump does get in office, because these people control, own, and manipulate everything. So I'm very fearful. I could talk about this for hours, man.
Yeah.
This is deep. This is darker than most people will imagine. But I really don't. I do fear that they will not let Trump take the oath of office on the 20th. I really do fear that. And then if they do, I do fear that they will try to do something to catastrophically destabilize his ability to be able to do what he said he's going to do and save this country. Because I just know how evil they are. I know how much evil they've done. I mean, hell, they tried to kill half the world with COVID.
Yeah.
And lies, and that's been proven. Congressional Hill yesterday, right? That it was all lies. And if Biden pardons Fauci and all these people, Bill Gates and all these people behind COVID, can you imagine?
Yeah.
The
Hitstreak is powered by our partners at HitLab Creative Studios. Whether it's launching your brand new podcast, rebranding your current podcast, or taking advantage of any of their other content packages specifically for your social media needs, the HitLab is a one-stop shop for you. Visit hitlabstudio.com for more. To me, it's just so crazy because, everything's documented with video for a long time, and it's like, it blows me away sometimes how somebody can get lied to their face, and then told something and then lied to their face about it later, and they don't question it or even understand that it happened. Like, they don't even acknowledge that it happened. That blows my mind. It's like, if you tell me something and then you try to tell me later that you didn't say it, I'm going to be like, dude, like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here?
It's on video.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the way people operate these days, man. We've destroyed the function of the human brain with social media and iPhones. The ADHD is through the roof. Attention span, is just about almost non-existent anymore. People see something on there that looks like from a legitimate source. Do you see what you believe, right? Believe what you see. And you have to be told over and over and over again to even make you start to question that wasn't true.
Right.
So that's where they're masters of. They're masters of manipulation.
Yeah.
And COVID proved that. You had half the country thinking that this virus was going to kill everybody, and that all these crazy, right-wing whack jobs who won't get vaccinated are going to be the cause of, everyone dying. So they were ready to kill half the country. You had people, I mean, look at what all people did with the masks and the social distancing and just all of the insanity they accepted into their lives as normal.
It was horrible.
And man, we were a pretty free thinking country a year before that, right?
That's right.
Or were we?
Yeah.
Or were we all being conditioned? And were they just getting us ready for that test and for that launch? And just look at where we're at now.
Yeah. Absolutely. There is I found that quote. So, and there's a couple more too, right? But the thing that is like never more relevant to me when you see the things that a lot of the things that we are fighting over, which I look at, hey man, if it's important to you, to each his own, but that doesn't mean like feelings aren't facts. All right. So they're opinions at the end of the day, but it's the things that we take for granted are what somebody else is praying for.
Amen.
The things that we're taking for granted here, people on the other side of the world are praying for them.
Amen.
It's crazy, Check this out. This one struck me pretty good too. Again, going back to what we kind of I said before about you can't be grateful for something you're entitled to, right? There's a lot of entitled issues these days, and so gratefulness and entitlement cannot coexist. But check this out. So this is also said from the pulpit, which I thought was pretty cool. And that's the villain. There's a villain in every story, but the villain doesn't always know they're the villain. Sometimes they think they're doing the right thing.
Okay. I like that.
Yep. And that's where it comes down to intentions, I think. How do you decipher between the two? And it's intention.
See, that's the problem with reality society nowadays, right? Is because the government is not properly policing, right? And corporations with regulations and oversight, because there's so much that's left, so much power that's left for corporations to be the arbiter of truth, to quote unquote play God, when the system, the very system that's here to protect you, the legal system, won't protect you. People start to do what? Vigilante things, right? And at what point was a vigilante wrong? Or what point was a vigilante the guy who started the revolution that brought about the change that was necessary for us to heal and to grow? Robin Hood was a bad guy to some. He was a hero to others.
Yeah.
One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, man. Like ISIS was a terrorist to us, but to other people, they were saviors.
Right.
So that's just the toughest thing to understand is to look at everything from perspective. And where is that line in what's right, what's moral, and what's true? And this is a very difficult conversation for a lot of people to have, because let's be honest, our founding fathers, they were terrorists,
right,
to England, right? When they did all the things that they did, they were committing terrorist acts. Mm-hmm. When they decided to fight the king, that was terrorism. Technically, by the definition today, that was people who were not a legitimate nation with no coming together and saying enough is enough. We, the people of this new country we just made up, are going to take a stand, and this is, we will be independent. Declaration of Independence, right?
Yep.
So look at us now. We have been hijacked by globalists. We've been hijacked by global bankers. We are not in control of our own destiny anymore here in the United States. If Trump isn't successful, God knows what's going to happen, and that's really where you're starting to look at this in perspective, and you're like, wait a second, we all call ourselves patriots, we all call ourselves Americans, and we all say we believe in the Constitution, we believe in certain unalienable rights, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, all that fun stuff, freedom of speech, freedom, right to bear arms, all these things. We believe in this stuff, but we let people take this from us every day. We let people deprive us of this every day. We watch our brothers and sisters be deprived of these rights and liberties every day. So where is that time that America says enough is enough? Right? This is just me talking out loud. These are some thoughts that people really need to start thinking about. When is that time? When does a vigilante become a hero?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's, again, like, it's all about perspective. It's all about a story, information, somebody's experience or position, as when it comes to defending your home, defending your family, as a man, a Christian man, killing is never something that is like, it's got to be a last resort, if it's a resort at all. But like, how do it says, one Ten Commandments says, "Thou shalt not kill." But then again, like, I know that I would do whatever it takes to save my family, and
Right.
I don't feel like that's killing in a sinful way. Maybe, is that the right way to say it? Like, because it's not like I'm going out and it's not evil. I'm protecting my family from evil.
Yeah. Well, God commanded people to kill.
That's
all
right.
throughout the Bible.
That's right.
That's why I think, man, and this is a whole nother topic, but this is something that I'm actually having a very long conversation on next week when Stephen Prowse and the Fifth Horse team comes here for a thing called Jesus and Beers, is to discuss how Christianity has been perverted, here in the U.S. and how we have, for lack of a better word, I'm not going to say the P word, wussified, masculinity, wussified Christians here in the U.S. We've created a very passive version of Christianity. But if you read the Bible and not listen to the preacher, there's a lot of stuff in there that where Christians had to stand up and fight for themselves, protect themselves. The Jews, especially persecuted, had to fight. Now there was times of trials and tribulations, but there was also time to seek with and destroy your enemy.
Yeah.
And God, same God, both things.
Yeah.
Because what is love? Is love just hugs? But I love my little girls. If someone was trying to hurt or do something terrible to my little girls, they're going to meet their maker real quick.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to blink an eye.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the thing, man. Love, right? Love thy neighbor can go a lot of ways. And, I think thou shalt not kill, because the Bible's been translated God knows how many times.
Yeah.
The Bible was put together by pagans, who were from Constantine Empire, who, flipped to Catholicism, and then they built the Bible, or the first version of it, right? And then there's been God knows how many versions since.
God does know how many versions that.
Yeah, only God does.
Yeah.
And how many words could be translated wrong? How many verses could be taken out of context?
Translation is the key word.
There you go, right? Like, so is it thou shalt not kill, or is it thou shalt not murder? Right? Who knows?
Yeah.
So, I mean, God's condoned a whole lot of killing, and sacrifice, in the Bible that I've read, and even in a lot of the books that didn't make it in the Bible, man. So I'm really starting to have this objective look on Christianity, as far as like, where are the lies too? Because if I were the devil, I wouldn't just pervert media and the government and music and, every other facet of life. The first thing I would pervert and try to manipulate and destroy is the church.
That's right.
You know what I mean? If I were the devil.
Sure.
So
100%.
How can we look into how we've been lied to as Christians here in the U.S.? And that's really what I've been starting to try to look at a lot lately, to understand why we've allowed so much of this to happen. Because if you think about it, the Christians are the majority in this country.
Yeah.
The majority of the money that goes into the church here. Why isn't the church taking care of the widows and the orphans? Why isn't the church taking care of all the children in foster care and child protective services? Why does the church just keep building bigger buildings? Why does the church keep putting more money into the band? Why does the church keep putting more money into field trips? But when I look at what Jesus said in the Bible, it says, take care of the widows and the orphans. Jesus was dining with prostitutes and sinners and tax collectors and murderers.
Yeah.
He was saying, hey, everyone deserves redemption. Everyone deserves love. Everyone deserves their feet washed, and everyone has a chance at salvation because his blood gave us that chance, right? The ability to be forgiven. So I think there's a lot of things that we need to do these days. And one of them is look at to what they've done to Christianity and what they've done to us as men, where we've sat by and we've allowed our country to get to this point, to where children are being raped and molested and no one does anything.
Yeah.
To where women are being persecuted, sexualized, and manipulated and no one does anything. To where our own masculinity is being attacked and degraded and destroyed. And meanwhile, evil is completely run amok in every facet of society. I mean, men are standing by and letting children's penises be cut off. Where are the men at?
Yeah.
And that's what so there's a lot of reevaluation that I'm starting to do in my life right now about what I believe and how I believe. because
Yeah.
I think the God that I know, that I pray to, as Brad says, his name's not God and Jesus, it's Yahweh and Yeshua.
Yeah.
And he's right about that. Church is not mean a building; it's to gather, aglesia. So there's just a lot of things that we've been lied to.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously, right and wrong. And, sometimes the villain had good intentions, might have just made a mistake, because we ain't perfect. Again, it's, it goes back to those intentions and stuff. And, as a guy with a deep history in insurance, it's you don't hear a lot about, again, there's people in insurance. There's always people. There's good and bad in everything. And my wife is always coming up with where literally the CEO of the company that we represented, where when mistakes were made, and they would always step up and do the right thing. And it was beautiful to see when the right people, the right good people, get put in those positions of, let's say, power, where they can make those things. Again, nobody's undefeated, but when you have a chance to right or wrong and you can do that, it almost leaves a bigger impact than if you had done the right thing the first time.
100%, man.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's right and wrong, good versus evil, black and white, and all that kind of stuff, right? So,
but it can never be, right? Because there's always, I hate to use this term like that, not the book, but the 50 shades gray in between, right? Because it all depends on, like you said to start this podcast, perspective.
Perspective, that's right.
Everyone's perspective is different, and I've become very aware of that. Because I've traveled the world so much, because I have friends from so many different ethnicities and backgrounds and religions and countries. And, I've got to spend intimate time with so many different types of people. The one thing that I've really realized is anyone who thinks they're right is wrong, right? From the start. Because the only thing that's right is the man upstairs, right?
Fact.
And all of us are just trying to figure this out. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, what could be right one minute, it could be wrong the next. I mean, let's be honest. Hitler didn't kill the Jews. A lot of people following orders did. And a lot of people that got the Jews killed, were they doing the right thing? Were they following the law? Right? Were they turning the Jews in and pointing out, where they're hiding? Were they doing the right thing at that time? Right? Were they doing the right thing,
Absolutely,
or were they following the law?
Yeah, they were following the law, and rather than a moral compass.
Right. So that's why I say it's perspective, and everything can be very subjective. Right? It's very hard for the law, for the government, for men, because the government is just a creation of man, for it to always be right.
Gotcha. For
always to do the right thing. And I think we've gone way too far in this one to where we do need a great reset, like Trump keeps saying. We'll see if he does it. But we do need different, because we are all being abused, and we are causing some atrocities around the world because of what America has become, and the corporations and the men that we've empowered to be absolute evil, like Dr. Fauci, like Bill Gates. Countries are waking up to it. Gates is starting to get persecuted all over the world right now because people are waking up to what his vaccines and what his treatments and what his, foundation has actually been doing in their countries.
I hadn't heard that.
Oh yeah. Kenya's rioting today.
Really?
They hunted him down in England yesterday.
What?
They chased him through the streets. He's been killing people all over the world. Not just COVID, all kinds of different vaccines and things. And we even got them implicated in a whole lot of human trafficking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just straight up evil.
And you just know, and it's I hadn't even heard that, and I feel like I'm in tune with a lot of what's going on. But
it's the thing, man. You got to see where are you getting news, right? And what news do you need? Too. Here's the other thing, man. You can know too much to where you know nothing, right? That's what they do with us with these iPhones and these reels. They inundate us with information and a whole lot of crap we don't need to know, right? Like I need to know things internationally because of what I do, right? But somebody that lives here in Nashville, Tennessee, that works at Vanderbilt Hospital, what do they need to know?
Right.
Do they need to know everything, perspectives going on in the world? Do they need to have their mind flooded with tons of useless information where they don't have the time to process, think about, and make good decisions about what they know to be true or what they believe here, and then what they need to activate on,
Yeah.
what they need to do.
Yeah.
So many people are so overwhelmed with information these days that they just don't need things they don't need to know. Funny videos, stupid things. They follow all these people. They listen to all this stuff. There's just so much information that they spend so much time just downloading information.
Yeah.
We've just become this, hard drive without a processor where people don't do anything anymore.
You're kind of all over something right here, and it was something that was a mentor told me one time when I first got into reading. I was reading book,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Hey, man, take some time in between those books to digest what you read and apply it before you move on to the next thing. You got to have that time to take in to digest what happened, and then figure out how you use it moving forward." And then you can figure out what your next piece of information you need is, maybe, or something like that,
Yeah. Well, think about it, Nick. If I hop on my phone right now, right? I hop on my phone and I open up Instagram and I click on the home button. Let's just say I click on one reel. And how many of us do this a lot during the day? Click on one reel and then I just start going down the reel rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I spend 15 minutes on my phone.
Yeah.
When I get off my phone, I have seen crime, sexuality, funny videos, world news, local news, just a million different things in 15 minutes, right? And a lot of them I've skipped over. Has my brain learned, processed, done anything about anything that I just saw? Or was I just wasting time, wasting space, and flooding my mind with more than it knows what to do with, to the point to where it kind of shuts off on reality? And that's what this stuff is engineered to make us drones and minions, and to make us do nothing about the world around us.
It's again, there's a lot of trust is earned. It used to be anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, how we all get the same 24 hours.
We do.
We all get the same 24 hours. What advice would you have for those folks on how to, because again, the things that you have to keep up with, the information that you have to keep up with, so we're fed it. I think you have to go get it, right? So for different reasons. Way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What advice would you have on how to do things, be more responsible to yourself?
Yeah.
What advice would you have for those people out there?
Well, here's what woke me up, and every day I try to get better at this. I had a buddy hit me up to give a seminar to a nationwide men's group on wealth. And I was like, well, man, I think you're talking to the wrong person. I ain't wealthy yet, yet.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And, so I was like, I don't think I can really speak to wealth. He's like, no, man, I want to know what wealth means to you. Like, and it's okay. So I was like, wealth, then that's got to be what's my most valuable thing. Started to think about it. I was like, time.
Yeah. Time
is my most valuable thing. It really is. And how I spend my time is going to determine my wealth at this time, right? Because I have, like you, families, we have children, we have business, we have all these things that we do outside of that, friendships, relationships, events. I mean, you can go on and on with all the things that you can occupy your time with. And so I started to just do a priority list, right, of what mattered the most to me. What was the most important thing in my life, right? And so everyone's priority list should be different, but I really think everyone should build a priority list for their time.
Fact.
They have to. And then
I love that.
Every day you have to have a routine. Not every day do you have to have the same routine, but there needs to be routine, because routine creates habit, and then habit creates sufficiency. And you're going to be good at whatever you make a habit.
Yeah.
Talking to your friends, right? Like I try to almost every morning or day go to breakfast or lunch with a friend, right? So that I spend intimate one-on-one time with them where my phone is over here.
Yeah.
It's not in between us. It's over here. It's in my pocket. It's not out, right?
I see it, dude.
And so I go to a lot of breakfasts and I go to a lot of lunches. But you know what? It's how I maintain my friendships. My daughters, I do my best to, because, they don't live with me. So I do my best to have a conversation with them, whether through text or FaceTime or whatever, every day. Mm-hmm. Just some type of interaction with them where they know dad loves them, dad cares about them, right? Because they don't live here. I have to do that. With work, Work only belongs in certain hours of the day, right?
Yeah.
I'll get it. My life's a little crazy. There's certain things that can pop up that I have to allow to command my attention. But outside of that, there better be a damn good reason my phone's ringing if we work together, right? And that's our pact that we have because we respect each other's time, right?
That's fantastic.
But you have to do that because a lot of people think that if they text me that I should respond right away.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have learned that that ain't how it goes.
That's right.
You know, I might, and it's no offense to them or that person, but I might text you back 5 days later. But you know what? That's because in the time that I had, that I allot to everything, that's when I got time to do it.
Yeah.
Because I will not compromise these time morals anymore. And I do not. The other thing that I do that I think has really saved me and a lot of my, well, not my past relationship, but my current relationships is if I'm with you, my phone is not out.
Yeah.
My phone is not out. I'm not putting my phone in between me and that person. And I'm not saying, hey, you're important to me unless something comes up. Now, if it's during work hours, that's different. I let them know, hey, it's the work day. I'm spending time with you. I want to have lunch with you, but some shit could pop up. Sorry, excuse me.
No,
some stuff could pop up, and I'm gonna have to hop on the phone, you know, and deal with it. So, notifications on my phone are off. Right? They're off. I'm not getting notifications from Instagram, my emails, all that kind of stuff. I have a set time of the day I check my email.
Yeah.
I check my text periodically every hour.
You're time blocking, dude, at a master level.
But you have to.
Yeah.
Or I would not be able to manage what I do for a charity, what I do for a company, being a dad, and then all the relationships and all the other crazy stuff. I'm on the board of other companies and other. I do a lot of stuff, Nick.
Yeah.
But I time block and I have to. And so people have to understand my most valuable thing that I have, and I think all of us have. I don't think I'm any different than anyone. This is time, because that is the one thing I'm not guaranteed any more of. And so if I don't manage my time efficiently, then maybe I'm going to miss telling that person I love them or I care about them. Maybe I'm not going to get that thing done that I got to get done. And I have to manage my time.
Yeah.
And every day I try to get better at that. Every time I learn lessons of that, and that allows me to be who I need to be for everyone in my life, for my charity, for my company, and everything else.
The Hitstreak is powered by Team Hyder. Team Hyder has been serving you for 11 years and has racked up over 20 national and local awards for excellence in all areas. When it comes to finding the right health plan, we need to consider your family's needs and your family's budget. That's what we do to serve you. To look further and to book an appointment, visit teamhyder.com. Can you imagine if the center snapped the football to the quarterback and he missed it because he was answering the phone call in the middle of the game?
I don't think we're a couple years away, from that. I think we're a couple years away from that, man. Phones are just ruining people's lives, and social media too. I have a time block. All my apps that I know that I spend time on, and more time if I get on it, I'm going to go down some rabbit holes. They're blocked on my phone now. Yeah. Instagram, I have 30 minutes a day that I can be on Instagram.
Got it.
Once that timer's off, I'm done.
Yep.
And I have some friends that I call my conspiracy theory buddies, right? And we all, in our 30 minutes, we all have time blocks. Find conspiracy stuff, true things that no one knows about. I don't call them conspiracies anymore. I like to call them truths. And just videos and information. So what we do to help each other out is we'll copy the link to that video, and then we'll text it to each other so that the other person doesn't have to get on social media and check it. And that because there's only a few people that and two, right? There's only a few people who have notifications turned on for text.
Yeah.
And then there's a few friends texts that come up to the top every time. Yep. Right. I do that for a reason because I get a ton of texts, and I'm sorry, but I don't want to respond to everybody, or do I have time to? It's not me being mean. It's just life.
That's right.
So there's people that come to the top, and there's some of my friends that share that stuff with, and we send each other the link of the video or the thing on Twitter or Instagram, whatever we want the other to watch. We'll click on that, we'll watch it, and then we'll talk about it. And then that's it. We're not on social media, and I'm having a pointed conversation about something that I just saw, or giving my 2 cents on it, at least, even if it's just one response, so there's just tricks that me and my friends together have worked out how we're going to manage our time and respect each other's time. Because some of my friends are, really famous musicians that are always traveling the world and doing things, and we love each other. We're close friends, but, he and I both, like me and a couple of them both understand there's going to be like 5 or 10 Instagram reels a day or X reels that we are going to send. And that's us just saying, hey man, thinking about you, check this shit out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And everybody's dynamic and relationship's going to be different, but you have to figure out if for the people you care about, that dynamic in that relationship, and then make time to manage it.
Well, you're also, something that I learned, when we, I look back to when we first launched, our insurance agency. I was like, I used to get upset when clients would reach out at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night for non-emergency things, because that was, I was eating dinner with kids, family time or whatever. And then I would catch myself later, like sending out texts when I wasn't with my at 8. So I was sending out a pattern that they were just following along with. So if I don't want people to expect me to respond at 8, 9 o'clock at night, then I shouldn't be sending anything out work related at 8, 9 o'clock at night. It's a little bit of a discipline there. You know what I mean?
100%.
When it comes to that stuff. So, time is the only currency that we have in life that we invest that we don't know the current balance of. Mm-hmm. Right. So, that just means it needs to be protected more.
I protect it like everything now, brother. You're right. You're spot on. I really like that quote, man. Mm-hmm. But you have to protect your time, and you're not going to be wealthy without protecting your time. You're not going to be happy in your relationship without protecting your time. You're going to have regrets. You're going to make mistakes. We're all still going to do that stuff. Yeah. But they're going to amplify if you don't utilize your time properly.
I used to always say, because we've been very blessed in our ability to earn money. Mm-hmm. But I've said it since day one, and this is what I've got Dale the super male producing this episode today, right? So, the second most mysterious man on earth, but the best mustache.
No, he really does.
That's right, the best mustache. So, but I've said it for years that, I may be the richest person here, but I'm not the wealthiest. Dale is, because Dale has the most time. I'm not always here by choice. Mm-hmm. Dale is. Dale's here by choice, 100%. So Dale is the wealthiest person in this room. That's for dang sure, because I know you and I, we don't have the time that he has, and that's one of the reasons I love having you here, man, because it's always relevant to me, and that's why I do what I do, is so that sooner than later, quickly, I want to generate more time. More time. Amen. I want more time. You know what I mean? I want more time. So since we brought you up, Dale. This has been quite the fascinating conversation, and there's some good stuff in here. And Matt, I'm always, your courage to even just talk about these things. I just want to recognize that.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
It's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy, and quite frankly, a lot of folks are very emotional about these things, which means they have a short fuse.
Yeah, 100%. Well, man, fear only exists in here.
That's right.
That's the only place fear exists, is in your head. And I'm not really scared of anything anymore. And I have no reason to be, because I'm not going to be the best version of myself. I'm not going to be the best dad, the best leader, and the best just person, period, without getting rid of fear and asking tough questions, challenging thoughts, challenging constructs, challenging the way it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to live that life, because I want to know the truth, man.
That's right.
I want to know the truth.
That's right. And I think we all do at the end of the day. And that's the crazy thing, is that's what we do have in common. Our diversity is what we have in common, and the fact that we all want to know the truth. Yeah. We all have that in common.
But some people just accept believe what they're told, and accept the norm, whatever the pastor told them, whatever daddy told them, and they get very offended about that, because there's emotion and there's feelings and there's connection attached to, who told you that, man? Yeah. And I think that's really the most important thing that we all have to realize is we need to start questioning things. We need to start challenging things. Now, you don't need to do that with everything, but there's some very important things that we have been lied to about. And I think if you don't realize by now, after COVID, after the Biden administration, after all of the things that have happened, how much we've been lied to, how much our existence is manipulated, tailored, manufactured, and controlled, and how vulnerable we are, how fragile our existence are, and how drastic of a change is going to be necessary to bring us back to just reality. If you don't get that by now, I don't know what else to tell you. Right? So you have to be uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable when it's uncomfortable. You have to be able to question your reality, and you have to be able to accept that you might be wrong.
So my take on this, and then Dale, I wanted to get your take on this, and here get a question from you here in a second. But like my take on this is, you know, I guess at some point in time, trust was earned. I guess the media was potentially a trustworthy source. But now, so, you know, we kind of let them take and own the responsibility to report fact, right? And Denzel Washington actually said at one time, he's like, you know, be very careful, because at one point in time, being right was more important than being first. And that changed, you know. And Socrates, you know, one of my favorite things about Socrates is he would always question, how do you know that? Well, somebody told me, well, how do they know that? It was always to get to the root of that source, you know. So now you know, for me, I feel like the responsibility is on us. I think, you know, these podcasts like this one and other ones, this is the difference between legacy media and new media like this is connection.
Yes.
Right. And another thing too, man, like, you know, when you look at like they in 2024, like in October, they released the top 10 podcasts in the world. And outside of a couple of true crime ones and a couple of comedy ones, they were all right-wing, right-sided podcasts. Right.
100%.
And that just kind of like that. If you like think about why would that be? You know what I mean? So
people are waking up.
They're waking up. That's right. And so, you know, now the responsibility is on us.
Amen.
Because trust has been lost. I hope it's earned again one day. We'll find out. But it's been lost. So now it's up to us to find out what's trustworthy source. You know, that means we have to do more, you know, before you believe things, you know, make sure that your information that you're believing, that you're basing that on is accurate, right?
Well, remember when we used to have books?
Yeah.
You know, and libraries, I know they're still there, but remember when people would go there?
Yeah.
Now we just Google everything. You've got to be so careful with that, because Google has been caught repeatedly over and over again lying, you know, tailoring and altering and just straight up, you know, deleting the truth. Yeah. The internet is not the place to find your truth. I mean, yes, you can find some sources on there. Get back to the books, get back to history, because the internet, they've deleted history. You know, pre-1920, good luck.
Yeah, I need those old encyclopedias back that we used to have as a kid to match everything's up against, you know. So we only had enough money to get a few of the letters of the alphabet.
Oh yeah,
we didn't have all of them, all A through Z.
We would get the year after, you know, from like friends' families that had money to buy the new one every year. Yeah, you know, we would always get the the old school years, but they're still good.
That's right.
You know.
That's right. All right, Dale. So I'm going to lean this way a little bit, but you project pretty well. So, and I can repeat the question. Like, well, you got to. We've been all over the map today.
Yeah.
What you got?
As far as asking that a question?
Yeah. What you got? What stuck out today? This is cool because again, I love the feedback. It's kind of like getting it from an audience member. You know.
Well, I like to hear his viewpoint on. And he mentioned the CEO for United Health.
Mm-hmm.
And things like that. The TrueNorth part of it. I like the naming of the company as far as what you seek as a guidepost and so forth. If you could, is there anything more that you could talk about along that line?
Yeah, no, definitely. So if you look at the world right now, data, right? Data is king. There's data everywhere. What do we do every time we download an app? We download an app and it uploads our life and everything there is to know about us. Every conversation we had, every connection we have, everything we've searched, right? You know, pictures. I mean, you literally give your life away to applications. Everywhere you go is data. Right? Everywhere, every store you go into is collecting information on you, your face, your cars. You know, your tires are tracked as well. They have a unique ID to them. So every time you pull into a parking lot, they know your car's there. You know, so every tire after 2015, I believe, has rivets in it. So when you pull into parking lots, corporations can track you. Corporations now have little black boxes that track your cell phone. And what you've been searching and what you've been doing and who you are. And it doesn't track your personal information yet, but it pulls your and this is, I'm talking to companies from Chick-fil-A to you name it. They track everything your cell phone's yelling out that's publicly available knowledge. Name, age, name. So
we do that so we can better serve, right? Because our intentions are good. Like, so you know what I'm
100%.
saying? Absolutely. But again, the information's the same information, if not more, is available to the people that don't have good intentions for it.
100%. The people with algorithms, the people with the AI, the people that want to manipulate you with marketing to either buy their product, or what about think a certain way? What about change your religious beliefs, change your political beliefs? Well, could they even possibly, for argument's sake, let's say, change your sexuality?
Yeah, because when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change.
100%, right? And what you start to become sexually attracted to, the overflow of pornography. So again, back to what you said, True North is, what I realize is so much of our life is manipulated and altered, and that's in almost every facet. How can someone be the arbiter of truth? I mean, let's be honest. Who trusts our intelligence agencies after all we've learned? Right.
Yeah.
Who trusts our government after all we've learned? That's been, the CIA just released that they created Planned Parenthood not too long ago, and there was the whole motive behind that. So do you trust the CIA? I wouldn't. I used to work there. I wouldn't trust them as far as I can throw them. And that's not very far. It's a big building. You know what I mean? And so with True North, what we really want to do, outside of the manhunting and taking down terrorists and human traffickers and breaking up, large narcotic rings, organized crime, all that fun stuff, what we really want to do is to find a way here in the U.S. to be the arbiter of what's true. Because the truth is out there.
It does exist.
The truth does exist, but someone has to find the truth. Someone has to have the ability to find the truth, to access all of the data, to access all of the information, and then to make an educated opinion on that, right? Because all intelligence is a collection of information, and the most educated, derivation, I can't use that word, of the information, and say, hey, this is what we believe to be true.
Right.
Right. So that's really what we want to do with True North is derive intelligence from information. And the thing that I get asked all the time is, well, Matt, I'm about to enter this business deal. What's the truth about this company? Or what's the truth about this guy? Or, hey, I think this person's, doing X, Y, or Z. I get asked that 10 times a day, every day in calls is, Matt, what can you tell me? What's the truth? Right. And that's really what we're building right now outside of all the crazy, James Bond stuff we do all over the world is for domestically what's true. Who is telling the truth? Where is the money actually going? Where's the money actually coming from?
Yeah.
Right. That's really where we want to get towards, is that people can come to us in any situation and figure out what the truth is.
He said it earlier that, God can't steer a parked car. He won't steer a parked car. The cars will be moving. I feel like kind of like the same way about the truth. If it's coming to you, and you're not seeking it, I don't know.
Then is it true?
I don't know. Maybe that's not the best way to describe that. But at the end of the day, if you have to, I think you have to seek the truth.
Yes. Always. You talked about Socrates earlier in Plato's Republic. Talking about utopia. And can exist, this perfect society. Is it possible? And no, it's not. And why is that? Us.
Sure.
It can. Human nature.
It's run by imperfect people.
Amen.
And we're all imperfect.
We are. We're all humans. And then we're the one thing that hasn't evolved or changed. We are the one baseline constant throughout history and the hamster wheels that we've gone through, right? Empires rising and falling, because we are the one thing that has not evolved or changed. And now here we are, where we are being completely manipulated, controlled, and I would say weaponized by media and technology, social media, algorithms, and AI. Where does that go? Humans are no longer the big dog in the yard anymore. Now we have technology totally controlling us. Where does that go? Who wins? Do humans win, or does technology win?
That's right. That's right.
So it's a lot to think about.
It truly is, man. And again, like it's always I just love the conversations, man, because it challenges you to think. Like, you make people better.
Try, man.
You make people better by challenging them to just think, and that's one of the greatest gifts that I think that you give that you give a lot of people, including myself, is you challenge us to just think.
I appreciate that, man. Because I'm never going to tell people I'm right. You know, like there's some certain things to say I'm pretty dang close on, but I don't know everything. I just want people to think. I want people to stop believing what they're told. I want people to create their own database to derive information from and make decisions on. I want everyone to be the master of their own destiny. And man, I'll just tell you this: like I had I had the most viral video in America for a few days after the Trump assassination, with talking about how there was no way that kid shot Trump, right? And
was there somebody on that water tower?
I don't believe it was water tower. I believe it was the window behind the kid that actually took the shot that went by the president's ear, and then they killed that kid because he got shot in the back of the head. That's a whole nother story. That was a total inside job, and everyone knows it at this point. I'm not going to say who's talked to me about it that knows, but I would say I think it's pretty damn close to the man himself. Let's just say, put it there. It was an inside job. Our country, I mean, look, JFK, the true video, the driver turned around and popped JFK in the head, whatever the shooter's name was, I forget. Oswald. He got killed because he knew too much. He was a patsy, just like that kid. That kid was a patsy. Anyways, tangent. I had most viral video in the country for a couple of days. Instagram locked my account down. This person named Angelfish that screen recorded me on TikTok and posted it, and it got hundreds of millions of views. It went all over X, all over the TV shows, from Alex Jones to you name them. I'm literally all over the freaking internet for a few days, man. It was wild. Right for me, and people had me on their TV shows. It was pretty cool. Yeah. But Instagram locked me down so much. I think I got like 400 new followers, on Instagram, having the most viral video in the country. Yeah. Right? So it was just hilarious to me. But after that, and during the election time build up, and then especially after the election, it was just like, it almost made me like tear up a little bit because, I catch a lot of shit for what I say publicly because I just want people to think, and to question reality, or what they believe is reality. And I got so many messages by so many people I've just never even talked to, just saying thank you. Thank you for speaking out. Thank you for standing up. Your video woke me up, or your video, or this, or this post, or this whatever. It literally helped change my life, and it helped me to see the reality, or be a better mom, or be a better dad, or and like the messages that I just started getting from people, it just started making me tear up because it was just like there were so many people just saying thank you, because you don't realize like you stepping up, you having a voice, you putting yourself out there, even when you could be wrong sometimes too. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Just putting yourself out there and challenging the construct, the false reality, the matrix that you're living in, and what it can do to people. And man, that gave me a lot of hope. And it made me feel good. And it's like, what? I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep raising hell because I don't want to go to heaven.
There you go. I like that. I'm gonna keep raising hell to get to heaven. That's cool. Yeah, man. That's cool. Well, dude, man, me and you could sit here. Literally, we could and should sometimes sit here all day long.
Yeah, I'm down.
We'll make sure that all those around us can. There's a lot of people that need us, and so I want to make sure that they get what they need today, and because we've been in here for a minute, right? Yes, so, folks, check it out. Once again, Matt Murphy, proud to call him a friend and a brother, and congratulations on your new venture at TrueNorth, man. It's just unbelievable. Congratulations on that the Lion project has gone well so far.
Yeah. No one's died yet. Hopefully no one dies soon.
Oh man!
Well, I think somebody's going to build him a cage out there. Inshallah, it's Africa.
Well, he's but and always thank you for your service. 100% past and present, and even future, because it's a part of you now. It's in your heart. Yep. And you're just such a freaking good human being, good spirit. And that's the one thing that I want to make sure that is heard and echoed today.
I appreciate you, brother.
You know what I'm saying? So the co-founder of TrueNorth, the director of U.S. operations of the Sentinel Foundation, military veteran, combat instructor. I mean, that's the most mysterious man in America, in the world right there, right? So check out, keep up with what's going on at foundationsentinel.org. That's the website for the Sentinel Foundation.
Yep.
I feel like we're just getting started still. And by the way, in new markets, those golf fundraisers are coming to you, right? So stay
100%.
stay tuned, because those are going to be announced, and they're going to be launching market after market after market. So the Hitstreak is powered by Rack Financial. When it comes to your credit card merchant processing, Rack Financial is efficient, reliable, and trusted. At the end of the day, when it comes to processing your credit card payments, they make it simple, the way it's supposed to be. Check out Rack Financial. Any final thoughts, brother?
Man, I just want to say thank you so much. Again, I'm honored to call you a friend and a brother as well, man. I appreciate everything you do, all the people you have on your show, just trying to show all kinds of different perspectives, because, you got the whack jobs like me, talking about all kinds of stuff from, business professionals to all kinds of stuff that come on here. And I love what you're doing with the show, man. Honored to be a guest on it twice. And I just appreciate you, brother.
Well, again, what makes it all happen for me is it's that intentionality, man. So even it's like you say, you said I say some crazy things in public from time to time, and but like, again, your intentions are good. It's like you said, you just are challenging people to think.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like, you're serving others. That's your thing, is you're serving others, man. So thank you. Appreciate it, man. It's always a good time to have you in the studio, baby.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Well, folks, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.